What's up guys, how's it going? So welcome to episode 2 of my new series, My Champs. And the footage in the background is once again from a League of Legends match that I played probably a little while back, if I remember correctly. I think that's right. And if I remember this correctly too, it didn't turn out in the best favor for our team. But I don't have to explain that. You'll find out soon enough if you just keep an eye on what's happening in the background while I talk. But yeah, for today's episode, I have chosen to talk about 3 champions, so one more than the first one if you missed it. Um, and also, I will try to make it a little bit longer because I felt like the first episode I kind of rushed it a little bit, and for that reason, it didn't. The video weren't as long as I had hoped it to be. And so yeah, I'm gonna try to be a little bit more calm. So yeah. Okay, so the first champion that I have chosen to talk about today is called Werex, the Howl of the Night. And if I'm gonna have to give him a little introduction, it would probably be this. He turns into a motherfucking werewolf. There you have it. Okay, so he has a human form and a werewolf form, and depending what form he is in, his abilities changes effects. Yeah. Okay. His passive is called Hunger, and gains increased attack speed in human form when near an enemy champion with low health. And when he is in werewolf form, while chasing an enemy champion with low health, Werex will jump to the target when close enough. Okay, so his first ability is called Claws of Blood. When in human form, Werex next auto attack will leave a dot on the target, dealing damage over time. And when he enters werewolf form for 4 seconds, Werex auto attacks will deal damage to enemies in front of him. Okay, let's move on. Stalking Prey is his next ability. When in human form, Werex can sense stealth units around him. And when in werewolf form, Werex's senses are greatly enhanced, allowing him to see enemies in bushes close to him. So that maybe sound a little bit overpowered, but in my mind, it kind of isn't. I'll leave that decision up to you guys. So his third ability is called Moonlight. Calls down a beam of moonlight after a brief delay. If Werex walks through the moonlight, he will instantly turn into a werewolf for a short time. And his ultimate finally is called Terror of the Night. Werex will let out a horrifying howl that will fear minions around him for 1 second, maybe less, I don't know, and turn him into a werewolf for some time. While in werewolf form, Werex will have his movement speed increased. So that is basically how I am imagining Werex going to work, and I kind of see him as a really fun champion, but once again I'll leave that decision up to you guys. So let's move on to the next champion that I've chosen, which is called Eluma, the Half-Hearted. And her first ability is called Haunting Eye. Eluma sends an eye to watch over an enemy champion for 4 seconds, granting vision over the champion. Her next ability is called Dark Spawn. Summons a creature of dark energy that will possess an enemy champion, dealing damage over time for 4 seconds, and make the next ability used hit themselves for the half of that damage. If it is used on a minion, the spawn will explode at the location of the minion, dealing damage to everyone around the minion. So AoE basically, if you hadn't figured that out already. Her third ability is called Doom Spirit. Eluma dooms her target spirit, puts a dot on the target that needs to charge up for 3 seconds. After that, she can activate the ability again to deal true damage to the target. The dot stays on the target until used, and if the dot will kill her target, she will gain some health. Now, I will probably change that bit where the dot stays on the target until killed, and change it to that it stays on the target for a duration, because it could be pretty overpowered if you just leave the dot on and then wait for the target to be really low health and just use it, and then that way be sure to gain life. So I think it will change into that, sort of. Her ultimate is called Dimensional Horror. Transfers an enemy champion to another dimension for 5 seconds. In the dimension, the champion will face 5 horror spawns. When the 5 seconds ends, the champion will return to the world, but horror spawns that didn't get killed by the champion sent to the dimension will be released as well, dealing damage to the champion for each spawn that is released. So you gotta kill those spawns, man. And her passive is called Phase Shift. Every second ability used on Eluma will deal half damage. Now, the reason behind this passive is that when I created her, I had this idea that I gave when I gave her the title, the half-hearted, that she would be one side of her would be human form, and then the other side would be just like a phantom. So yeah, I guess that maybe explains the passive better than I can explain by talking more. But anyways, okay, so let's move on to the last champion that I've chosen to talk about today, and that champion is called Gorm, the King's Spirit. Okay, so Gorm's passive is called Eternal Slumber. When below 50% health, the next art attack or ability that hits Gorm will trigger a pulse going out from Gorm's location that dazes all targets around him, stunning enemies for a short duration. This effect can happen every 8 seconds when below 50% health. So if he stays below 50% health for, I don't know, a certain distance, a certain amount of time, every 8 seconds when a ability or an auto attack hits him, he can stun enemies around him. So I guess that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Okay, so his first ability is called Whispers of the Dead. Every time a minion dies around Gorm, he drains their essence, gaining a small stat increase every time. Okay, so if the minion is an enemy minion, Gorm gains increased armor, and if the minion is an ally, Gorm gains a small portion of health back. And the armor increase from the enemy minion can be stacked up to 3 times, and the effects are doubled if it is a champion that dies. So, and that works both ways for a allied and enemy champion. His next ability is called Hammer of Dread. Gorm slams his hammer into the ground, sending out a wave in front of him, turning the ground into death soil, dealing damage and increases his movement speed when he walks on the ground. Enemies take more damage if they are hit by the initial slam rather than the wave. So it's kind of like a positioning thing. His third ability is called Stand Proud / Judgment, which passively increases Storm's armor and magic resist when he is at or below 25% health, and that armor and magic resist increase magic resistance increases every time he loses 5% health when he is either at or below 25% health. If activated, Gorm will judge an enemy champion. All auto attack damage done by Gorm to the target that is being judged is increased, and if the target gets killed by Gorm while being judged, Gorm will gain a permanent damage increase on all of his abilities except for his ultimate. So I don't know if that's gonna be way too overpowered, but I think for it not to be overpowered, you have to make it the damage increase very small, kind of. I don't know, but yeah. So his ultimate is called Master Plan. Gorm creates 4 images of himself around him. Gorm can then switch between the images. Each time he switches to another image, he gains a attack speed increase that can be stacked up to 4 times. But if he switches periodically between the images too quickly, the attack speed increase will be smaller each time. And at the end of the ability's duration, the images will explode at their location. Let's see, dealing area damage Yeah, it just says the images stays where they were summoned for the duration of the ability. So that is the 3 champions that I have planned for this episode. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about it, these champions, and what you guys think about me doing this series. Give me some feedback and hopefully some likes. That's up to you guys, but definitely some feedback. What I can do, to improve on this series. Maybe include you a little bit more, which I am going to do. I'm just gonna do that maybe some episodes in, where I'm gonna talk about some champions that I have a sort of a hard time completing, and then that way I can include you guys when asking if you guys have any ideas for that champions. So yeah, that is episode 2, guys. Let me know what you guys think. As always, feedback is good, even though it might not always be, but for me it's good. I'm just starting, so yeah. Leave feedback, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.